So my name is Darryl Simpson, originally from Pompano Beach, Florida, 26 years old. I recently just launched my affordable luxury brand, Zavies, based around perfumes and colognes. I worked my sales job for about 7 months, and I saved up enough money to where I was able to quit to actually do this full time. There's some people who have a lot of ideas that never execute, and then there's other people who have too many ideas and they try to execute on everything at one time. If it's something that has been done before, I would say look at people who have done it, not map what they did, but notice what they did, pay attention to what they did, and then apply it in your life the way that you think fit. Is always stay patient and persistent. I always say that that's my greatest attribute because I am so patient, but I'm so persistent. You have to have an idea, you have to plan, you have to execute. You can't stop in that process. You have to go through that.
How's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to the Unlimited Power Show. Today I have the absolute pleasure of introducing to you Darryl Simpson. How you doing?
Hey, everybody. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. So it's a pleasure to have you here today. You made it to the show.
Thank you.
Why don't you give us a quick overview of who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, and what's driving you to do it.
Okay, so my name is Darryl Simpson. Originally from Pompano Beach, Florida, 26 years old. I'm actually an FAU alumni, go Owls. I'm also an NSU alumni.
Yes.
I recently just launched my affordable luxury brand, Zavies, based around perfumes and colognes. I'm also a proprietor of a utility patent, and I'm just really just swinging for the fence, just executing on all my ideas and just not letting anybody stop me along the way.
So tell us, where did all this start?
I would say it started post high school, because I wasn't such a great student in high school.
Right.
Because I don't really like standard schooling, how it's done today. And I always had ideas. So after high school, that's when I started really kind of exploring, because college is a good place, to start exploring the mind and what do you really want to do.
Yeah.
So that's where all the ideas started coming to me. And then I started taking classes around like how to execute on those ideas. So business classes, finances, accounting, marketing, everything like that.
What were some of your favorite classes that you'd recommend to someone to take as far as entrepreneurship is concerned?
If there's any venture starting type of classes, how to start a venture classes, I think everybody should take that. I think you should take finance classes, definitely around accounting and managerial financing and managerial accounting. Also marketing, but not so much, because usually professors are kind of on the older side, so they're not really hip to, the new marketing trends. So I would say probably go online to figure out the marketing aspect of business. There's a lot of information online, like YouTube, Google,
So do you think that you learned more online than you did in school, or was it balanced?
I would honestly say it's probably balanced, 50-50.
50-50.
Half my knowledge came from just doing, because experience is the best teacher.
Right.
Always. And the other came from school. And then connections, I think school, the main pull from school, or biggest thing that you can get from school is connections. Yeah.
So how did you make connections when you were in college? How did you did you meet people now that are beneficial to your career now?
Yes. So definitely just, I would say kind of going to events, parties, different things like that. Just put yourself out there. I work for the student union at FAU. I was part of the MBA, Black MBA Association at NSU. So just really putting yourself out there and then finding like-minded people to be around, because that really is helpful.
So what are some like-minded people that you think along your journey towards entrepreneurship has propelled you to the stage you are at today? I'm talking about childhood friends and mentors, and what lessons you learned from those people?
I never had a mentor per se. I do have people that I look up to, but there's people that I don't know. Really.
Yeah.
So like you got like Dame Dash, Gary Vaynerchuk, like different stories that I pull from.
Right.
But I pull something different from every person. So I never really try to mimic or duplicate what a specific person did. I pull something like, he's good at this, he's good at that. Like I pull something from everybody, and then I kind of like make my own cocktail of what I'm gonna do for myself and apply it.
Yeah, that's kind of I look at it like that. You can have a mentor for different areas of your life. For instance, you could have somebody in the health mentor that's mentoring you with your health. They don't have to be like your mentor. They could just be someone that you listen to, their knowledge and wisdom. But you don't want to take an advice about your finances from somebody who's in health if they're not, like, don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, it has to be a credible.
So you have to pick what you can find the most credible, the attributes of those people.
Right.
And I think when you do that, you can build the skill sets needed to be a successful entrepreneur.
I do. And
as being a successful entrepreneur, what would you say your definition of being a successful entrepreneur?
That's a very subjective answer, but I would say a successful entrepreneur. First of all, you have to be an entrepreneur,
right?
Because nowadays there's not many real entrepreneurs. So you actually have to start and run a business that transacts and sells a product or a service.
Right.
After that, I would say that a successful entrepreneur is somebody who can grow that business. Now, if they sell that business or not, that's on them, of course. But I do think that would really be my definition. Somebody who can start a business from scratch. Some people would say with their own money. It depends on what type of business it is.
Right.
But some people would say, if you don't use your own money, you don't own it. But,
I beg to differ that.
Yeah.
There are all these tech startups being funded by all these outside investors.
We live in a very interesting time where you can just have an idea and somebody will give you $10 million for an idea.
Yeah.
And then you can burn all of that money and never really sell what you intended.
There's a lot of those companies out there.
So that happens a lot these days. And that's a good point. So it's like, are those successful entrepreneurs or were they just good at fundraising?
Right.
So there's a lot of fundraising going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of fundraising.
But somebody who can actually grow a business, whether they sell it or not, but somebody can grow a business from zero to however big or far it goes. Somebody who can grow a business. So
when we talk about execution, there's something that you can grow a business, but if it's never started, then it's never going to grow.
Correct.
So how do you take an idea from an idea to an actual product without $10 million?
I think that people are I think there's two sides of that spectrum. There's some people who have a lot of ideas that never execute.
Yeah.
And then there's other people who have too many ideas and they try to execute on everything at one time.
Right.
I think that you really have to be strategic in how you execute and what do you care about the most. And not even anything to do with money. What is your passion? Like what do you really, what will make you go through fire for it? You know what I'm saying? Something that will make you go through fire, I think you should put all your eggs in that basket, because I also believe that you should triple down on something that you really, really care about. Like I don't think that, personally, I don't believe that you should be scattered. Like, they always say all these different sources of income, which makes sense, but you got to have a stake first before you have the sides. So that's how I look at that. So focus on building your stake up. So I would say put all your focus on one idea. Strategically look at if it's a new innovative idea, then you're gonna have to do a lot more, ingenuity. You're gonna have to use a lot more ingenuity in what you're doing. But if it's something that has been done before, I would say look at people who have done it, not map what they did, but notice what they did, pay attention to what they did, and then apply it in your life the way that you think fits. So I think that would be smart.
That's smart because I mean I'm one of those people with a bunch of ideas. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And too many of them to count.
Right.
So one of my friends, I was asking him, like, where do I start? Which one I start? I'm passionate about all of them. I see how they can all relate to each other.
Right.
Sometimes there are ideas, and there are things like this, which is a show, and there are other things that you do just to inspire other people, and they're all pulled
exactly.
from you, right?
Right, exactly.
So how did you trickle down and narrow your focus? I mean, considering you have a patent and you had that right, you could go towards, and then you focusing now on your Zavies brand. Tell us more about the Zavies and the brand and how did you narrow it down to this?
So what happened is these ideas came at two different times. And in a way they kind of overlap, but they kind of didn't at the same time. So the idea for the patent came in January 2015.
And specify what that patent is.
Oh, so the patent is it's an appliance that goes in the bathroom that gives you the ability to put items on it, and it also gives the ability to advertise inside of a bathroom stall. So it's like a captive audience that you can advertise to. It's not really being done right now. So I'm working on licensing that. And that's another, it's, you know, in business, you don't always have to start a business around something. Like, so technically I'm kind of like a product developer also, because I'm going to actually license that product to a company and then gain royalties from the licensing agreement. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with business. But so I came up with that idea in January 2015. I didn't file for the patent until December 2015. Actually, no, correction. I didn't file for the patent until March 2016. So the idea, because I didn't really pursue the idea, because I didn't, you know, when you have an idea, you think, oh, you know, nobody's going to care about this. I'm not going to be able to patent it. You know, you start doubting.
Yeah.
But towards the end of 2015, I was like, no, I'm not going to start. I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to pursue it because I think it's a great idea. So I filed for the patent in March 2016. I actually did not receive, well, I wasn't granted that patent until July 2017. So we're talking like over like 2 years. And a lot of people don't have patience for that process because it's a lot of money and then it's a long process. A lot of people don't have patience, you know, nowadays. So during that process, I started my MBA program at Nova, which started in January 2016. So it kind of overlapped, but I started the program at Nova because I know that I wanted to get kind of like in a way, a fast track business, I would say, knowledge or information. So I wanted to fast track on business. So during that program, that's when the whole idea for Zavies came about. So really, it was I was doing two things at one time. So I was patenting one idea, but then I was building a business plan for Zavies. So, I mean, I guess you can kind of say that's kind of scattered because they have nothing to do with one another, but it was only just those two. So, and one of them I knew that I wanted to be more on the passive side, and one of them I wanted to be on the active side, which Zavies is the active side. Like that's my like baby. Right. Yeah. So.
All right. So introduce your baby to the world.
Okay. So Zavies. Zavies really it came from a nickname from my mom. So me and my dad have the same first name, Darryl, and for a nickname, she pulled from my middle name, Xavier. So Zavies came from Xavier. So it's really kind of like a tribute to my mom because she's the one who originally introduced me to fragrances. Right. So I named it Zavies to, you know, pay tribute to her. The name of the first fragrance is Virile, which means a man with strength, energy, and a strong sex drive. Because I thought that that's what the scent embodies. And it's a big business play. So right now, everyone just sees that I launched a cologne. What's coming next is a perfume. But what people don't understand is when I actually did this business plan in school, Zavies was actually a lounge. That's a part of the business plan that I haven't said. I'm saying it here. But so what's going to happen next is I'm going to be launching a perfume, then I'm going to launch another men's fragrance, and then another perfume. So I'm building a collection, but that collection is going to be attributed to a lounge. So it's kind of complex. But have you ever been to a cigar bar?
Yeah. Well, a cigar bar? No, I haven't.
No, you haven't? Okay, so at a cigar bar, it's kind of like a lounge, but there's a room inside of the cigar bar that sells cigars.
Mm-hmm.
So my idea in business school was that same structure, but for fragrances. So I wanted a fragrance lounge, technically.
Right.
So Zavies really is the beginning of a fragrance lounge. So a lot of people don't know that.
So, well, that's
Yeah.
great that you shared it here.
Yeah, I
First
just
time you
shared it.
here?
Yeah, it's the first time sharing it.
So when it becomes big, it was first shared on the
Yeah.
show. Right? You
Yeah.
always got it.
So yeah, so this is the beginning of phase one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that. So there's a long road ahead.
So you believe that there are always phases in companies, and you have to figure
Yes.
out what's the best starting point.
Right.
How did you pick the starting point for this?
Well, that goes into the real kind of like steak and potatoes. I didn't have enough money to start a lounge.
Right.
So what I did have enough money to do is create a fragrance. So I just went with what I was, financially able to do and what would be the perfect way to start building the brand around fragrances. So this is just the beginning, but the more fragrances I sell, the more marketing I do, the more people are going to associate, Zavies, that's the company that sells fragrances. That's the company that sells fragrances. So when the time comes for the lounge, it would already be branded as the fragrance company.
Got it. Vero. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So we got the Vero brand, and we have the owner here. How did you start to brand this now, and what are your methods of getting this out there to more and more people? Because I know marketing it can be an elephant sometimes.
Marketing is an elephant. But you know what they say, what's the best way to eat an elephant?
Right.
One bite at a time.
Right.
So I'm just chipping away right now. I know that's a long process. Really no big brands have been built within, a few months or a year I'm trying to expedite that process, but I know that it's going to be a challenge. But right now, I'm doing interviews and I'm using social media influencers. So that's like my main target. And I haven't started on ads yet, but I'm going to eventually start doing on ads.
I got you with an ad idea right now. If you even take my shirt off, increase your sex drive.
Yep, that'll work. That'll work.
I got you. Yeah, so tell us some more about your marketing.
But yeah, so social media, I think, is the key. I do not right now plan on being in brick and mortar. There's a good chance that mid 2019 I'm gonna be in Macy's for a short period of time. Just to they kind of got this like market thing going on that they do. So I'll be in Macy's for like 5 weeks. So I'm going to be paying for that space. So that's going to be something that I'm going to do. But I actually don't plan on going into brick and mortar because I don't really believe in brick and mortar going into the future as far as like retail. And also just business wise, I don't want someone to take half my margin. So yeah, so that's really the play going forward.
There's a lot of people who are hustling cologne and perfume on the streets. Do you ever think of, like, hey, I'll give you this wholesale, this price, and sell it for me? Like, there's a lot of people. I mean, because they're selling all types of brands. Right. Have you ever thought connecting with those people?
I haven't because of the quality that I put into this.
Yeah.
So I don't want to compromise the quality.
Right.
But I'm open to ideas.
Right.
But I don't want to compromise the quality because there was a lot of time, effort, and money that went into doing what I did. And it's an original fragrance, original everything. There's nothing. It's not like a duplicate. It's not, because a lot of people have like knockoff different fragrances, like knockoff Chanel or knockoff.
Tell us about the fragrance. How is the formula? Well, not the formula, like your secret sauce, but
yeah, the secret sauce.
but tell us about. I don't know a lot about how colognes are made. So.
So I used 3 different companies. So there's one company that makes the liquid. There's one company that makes the bottle and the cap and everything you see, the actuator and the sprayer. And then there's another company that makes the box. And then obviously I have a graphic designer who does everything that you see. But the liquid is actually made from a manufacturer. They actually made it for me. So I told them exactly what notes that I wanted in the fragrance. So they take all the notes, they combine it, and they send me samples of what it possibly could smell like. And then I go through them, tell them what to tweak, what I want to keep, what I want to take away. And then they mass produce it. And then the other company, then I have to get the bottle you know, I got to get the print for the bottle, and then my bottle is actually green. So actually take it out. So everything you see actually costs money, because a lot of people assume that, you know, oh, you know, you can just kind of like get it done, you know, and it's nothing, there's no added cost. But everything you see costs money, from the print on the bottle to the bottle being tinted green to the actual tube being cut to fit in the bottle costs money. So yeah, that it's a long process.
It's a long process.
Yes, sir.
So how long it took you to turn around from idea to design to scent to product launch?
Thankfully, I had already had the idea. So that kind of sped things up. So when I actually did get started, I already had the idea. I knew the name of the fragrance was going to be Viral, and I knew that the brand was going to be Zavies. So I had all those things in play, I would say, late 2017. I worked my sales job for about 7 months, and I saved up enough money to where I was able to quit to actually do this full time.
Got it.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm very strategic. So I'm always 3 steps ahead. Like, I always compare, I think children should learn how to play chess young, because not because chess is just the greatest game ever, but just because I think that learning how to think strategically and planning ahead is essential to like business or just life in general, to be able to think ahead. So I'm always thinking ahead.
How to move the pieces.
Yeah, so I'm always thinking ahead. And, you know, and I think that that's why I was able to do it. And I mean, I had the idea mid 2017, and I launched it November 18th, 2018. So it's a very expedited process.
All right, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I mean, I've always liked to showcase different ways, different products, different ways to actually achieve your unlimited potential, unlimited power. It's like sometimes some things that we see, we think, oh, maybe I can do it, maybe I cannot.
Right.
What advice can you give to an entrepreneur with an idea that they somewhat believe, somewhat they don't believe? How did you overcome self-doubt?
Self-doubt is real. So if anybody says, oh, well, you know, I don't have doubt, everybody has doubt.
Yeah.
So I definitely had doubts. But I believe it takes a certain level of confidence. Like, in a way, I don't want to say you shouldn't care what people think, but honestly, you shouldn't care what people think. I think that you should get so insular and just quiet everybody around you to the point that only voice that you hear is yourself. And when you only listen to yourself, I feel like you could do anything, because you're judge, jury, and executioner. So nobody else controls what you do. So that's what I think. I think you should really, really quiet all the voices around you. When you stop caring about what other people think, I think great things happen.
When you stop caring about what other people think, great things happen.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful.
Yeah.
It's an execution.
Yeah. Sacrifice, patience, discipline. Yeah.
So are those some of the principles that you kind of live by? What are some principles that you live by besides those?
Empathy, being respectful. Patience is really big for me, because I think nothing great comes fast. And discipline, because also nothing great comes without, you know, struggle. So I think being disciplined, being patient, but just never letting it go. You know, a lot of people start things and then they quit, you know.
Right.
Oh, it didn't go well, or something happened. I mean, I had to, I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but I had to file a claim for almost like $6,000 because somebody, you know, didn't do something right, that I paid them to do. But it didn't, you know, didn't stop me. You know what I'm saying? Which I could have stopped at that point, because I've been like, oh man, this process is crazy. These companies are trying to get over on me. Like, this is a lot of money. Why am I doing this? This is stupid. Like, I could go buy a house. I could go invest. I could go do other things. But I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I think you should never let any situation or circumstance derail you from what you really want to do.
How did you overcome those defeats at night? Like, what did you do to get your mental state back on?
I think that I would say spirituality plays a role also.
Yeah.
I know everybody doesn't believe, have different beliefs, but my religious views played a role. I would also say that I do have a support.
Right.
So I have people, and it's not many, to be honest. It's like less than 5. But those people that I know that are in my corner, they also push me. So when I do doubt myself, they say they honestly don't have to say much because I'm so driven. So they say one thing and it just snaps me out of it. It's like, Darryl, that's not you, and boom, you know what? You're right, that's not.
Yeah.
So I think a support system, have some type of faith, spiritual, something higher calling, something that really kind of like grounds you.
Right.
Yeah, and I think those 2 things really kept me going.
That's always been a recurring theme in all my interviews. Everybody, one thing I have as an interviewer, as a person, you have to respect everyone's religious beliefs.
Right.
I'm a Christian, and
right.
I sit here. I also interview all types of people with all types of religious beliefs. But everyone have some sort of a belief in a higher power.
Right.
And in something that's driving them to actually go towards that. And when you miss that something, and you're missing something.
Right. Exactly.
So
I agree.
that's definitely powerful.
Yeah.
So if you can leave one advice with everyone watching today, to urge them to chase their passion, chase their dreams, find something that they can create, whether it's a service, a product, what would that message be?
I would say the message that I would want to leave is always stay patient and persistent. I always say that that's my greatest attribute because I am so patient, but I'm so persistent. You have to have an idea, you have to plan, you have to execute. You can't stop in that process. You have to go through that. It's only a 3-step process, even though that might take years, that might take months, it might take weeks. Idea, plan, execute. Stay patient, stay persistent.
I like it.
Yeah.
Idea, plan, and execution is worship. So, Darryl Simpson.
Yes, sir.
You've showcased the product. You tell us how you got it started. You've given us a lot of good information. How people can support this movement? How much does it cost? Where can they buy it? What specials you got going on? Tell us, plug yourself in.
Okay, so Zavies, you can actually find it at Zavies.com. So that's Zavies.com. On Instagram is Zavies Official, which that might be changing to @Zavies real soon because the trademark process is ongoing. So this is the first cologne, but it's sold for $49.99. Every scent or every fragrance that I do release will also be $49.99. So you can always count on that to be the price because I've already factored in everything. The shipping is free, $49.99. Depending on if you're in Florida, you're gonna have to pay like a $3 tax. If you're outside of Florida, you won't have to pay any tax. It'll just be $49.99. And yeah, it's on sale today. Zavies.com, Zavies Official on Instagram, and Zavies Incorporated on Facebook. And you can purchase it right from Instagram. So, yeah.
All right. So you have anything else that you would like to say?
No, I love this show. I love what you're doing.
I love it too. That's
yeah,
why I
man.
continue doing it.
You're very consistent, man. I love it. I think that's one of the things that I really like about you. When I watch your things, I'm like, he's very consistent. I love people who are very consistent. Like even if nobody's watching, you still do what you.
Yeah, just keep doing.
You still do your thing.
About.
You got to keep swinging.
What you just said is the true. To find your unlimited potential, you got to do it when nobody's watching.
When nobody's watching.
Right.
Nobody's watching, nobody cares, but you care.
That's when it's
and that's
built.
all that matters.
Yeah, nobody watches it, but you know that whoever, like, it could be a few people who just like, oh, I'm gonna go and start my cologne brand now. Guess what? You've just made an impact in the world.
Exactly.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Sometimes we gotta leave our own scent with the world. We gotta leave our own trademark with the world.
I like that. Leave your own scent with the world.
You gotta leave that, and sometimes the issue is gonna be long to make that. To figure out the formula.
Yeah.
To figure out the brand, build your brand, build yourself. And you just got to keep being persistent.
Persistence and patience. patience and persistence.
The two P's.
The two P's.
That leads you to progress. And I want to thank you for tuning into the Unlimited Power Show. My name is Edouard Gilles, and I want to remind you that you have the unlimited power in you to achieve whatever it is that you want. But until you believe that, the world will forever miss your talents, your gifts, and all the great things that you have to offer. So let your light shine. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. Thank you. So check out the Zavies brand and purchase your Vero Cologne by visiting Zavies.com.
Bingo.
Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video.